I am so glad to see you. I am giving you psychological wisdom and insight to help you get beyond messy relationships. My name is Judy Herman, and I'm here to tell you today about how to raise resilient children. And these are mental health tips for executive women. I know a lot of us are facing the reality that our kids are going back to school. Well, I need to say ours. I'm actually a grandmother, so all my children are grown. And I need to let you know too, that the things that I've learned as a young mom early on in my life to where I am now at the stage of being a grandmother, I've gotten a whole lot of wisdom and psychological insight since. But if I had a fraction of it when I was raising my young children, things might be a little bit different. But I want to share with you what you need to know about raising resilient children. And this is something that I've always even had in the back of my mind. Keep in mind that your young children, if you have young children that you are raising, and you're making all kinds of decisions for them, and they are watching you and learning from you, whether you like it or not. But their little brains are developing. They're not going to be totally online with their mental abilities and thinking and judgment. So that's why they have you, right? But here's some things that are so important. But one thing I actually did keep in mind way before I even became a therapist, because becoming a therapist, a psychotherapist, is actually a second career for me. But I always had it in the back of my mind. I'm not raising children, and I raised 4 in a troubled marriage. But I was raising future wives, future husbands, future moms, future dads. So if you can keep that in the back of your mind, you want to really, be with them when in their developmental stage. Don't expect your 2-year-old to act like an adult because they're 2, right? Or be responsible. So you want to be very age appropriate in the way that you relate to them, but keeping in the back of your mind, you're going to have a relationship with your adult children way longer, for many, many, many more years than you will have a relationship with them while they are in their developing mode of life. Okay, so keep that in mind. So what's very crucial? 3 things I'm going to share with you. Number 1, how to raise resilient children and mental health tips for their developing brains. Number 1, have a positive attitude as a parent. You really need to have a positive attitude. There is research that is aligned with having a positive attitude is also good for your mental health. And yes, we don't want to live in a Pollyanna way of thinking. We can be realistic, quote unquote, realistic. Sometimes people just assume that being realistic is negative. No, that's not the case. But we have this balance, and we're able to focus our attention on things that are positive. That is good neuroscience, and it's good mental health, and it will be passed down to your children and their developing brains. So that's number 1, is have a positive attitude. Let them see you being resilient, even through hard times. Secondly, your past narrative is very important. I know a lot of parents, I'm guilty. I've done this too, but you raise this little human being and you want them to have the things that you didn't have when you were growing up. You want them to have a so much better childhood than what you experienced. Okay, but here's the thing. We all have stuff in our childhood that needs to be repaired, and we do not need to live our lives through our little ones. Okay, even though we're so tempted to do that. But what's the best thing to do is to make sure that your narrative about your past is life-giving, that it is healing, that it is resilient, because the things that have happened in our past, we still have that childlike way to narrate it, and it just doesn't work. Like, we don't have that understanding. So that's why it's good to go back. A lot of people say, oh, the past is a past. It doesn't have anything to do with going on today. Yes, it does. It does. And the more that you can have your story and your narrative, the more you know it, number 1, the more you can have grace for yourself, the more your kids are going to inadvertently, if that's the right word, inadvertently pick up that peace and that completion that you have in your life. So your past narrative is important. Make sure you know what it is and how to figure that out rather than sweeping it under the rug. That doesn't work. So number one, positive attitude. Second, past narrative. And then third, have a purposeful life. Have a purposeful life. Keep on growing. Yes, you may have grade school children. You may have children in college, but your growing needs to continue and be purposeful because you are modeling that adulthood for your children. Okay, so this is psychological wisdom, spiritual insight to help you get beyond messy relationships. Here's a couple things I want you to know. I am going to be speaking with, as invited by my friend, Kalisha Worley, and there's some amazing speakers this week, starting today, to talk about being your best version boot camp. And I've got the link in this description. So click on that. Excuse me. So I'm going to be speaking later in the month, but it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So tap into this. I also have a program called Show Up and Be You. Stop walking on eggshells and live your true life. So reach out to me, Judy at judycounselor.com. That's my email. And then website is judycounselor.com. I am the author of Beyond Messy Relationships. Get a copy of it if you've not read it already. All right. And thank you so much for joining me. Your children are resilient and they need you to continue to be resilient and not worry. Be prayerful, yes, but you're going to focus your vibrations on positivity, making sure your past narrative is complete and living a purposeful life. Thanks so much. Judy Herman here. Bye-bye.